A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, joining me for this video on life after death. I haven't posted anything for a while because things had been sort of bobbing along not too badly. But that all came to a halt last week and was triggered again by a sudden death in the family circle. And if, like me, you're in a pattern of grief and you've come out of it relatively on the other side by now, I was really triggered by the news that someone had died suddenly and found myself feeling like I was going to slip back to where I was over 2 years ago. So if you're in that situation and you're getting a feeling, and the feeling is what your emotional guidance system is telling you, then I decided it was time to reach out for help quickly. Unlike the last time after the death of my husband, I'd left it for a while. So I reached out within 24 hours and got someone to talk to. And I would highly recommend that if it is something that you're going through, find someone to talk to who's not involved in the situation, who's not emotionally charged with anything to do with the situation. And the advice that I got, I was quite surprised by it, but it also helped me to kind of get back on track very quickly. And I thought it would be worth sharing it with you. And it's all about choices. I've forgotten actually this little piece of work, but it's about choices. And you are where you are in your life as a result of the choices you've made. Now, it's sometimes a wee bit tricky to evaluate yourself and say, I chose to do whatever X, Y, Z, and I am where I am as a result of that choice. But in the feedback that I got from the counsellor that I spoke to, she really made a lot of sense in terms of if you're choosing to take action, then you don't need to explain yourself to anybody else. You don't need to justify yourself to anyone else about the choices that you've made. And as long as you're not hurting or upsetting anybody, the choices that you make are for your greater and higher good. So that's the first thing to remember, is that there's choices in everything that you do. And that really helped me last week to try and get back on track. But the other piece that was helpful was the forgive yourself. Whatever's happened in the past is over. You can't change it. But in order to move forward, you may choose to make different choices, but you also, it's a really good thing if you can forgive yourself. Now, I have found, and I'll read it because I have it written here, a little prayer that can help you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Now, if you write that down and you go over that, it's called an Opono prayer. But if you can go over that for yourself and perhaps the other person who may have passed, it really is very liberating to allow you to move on and move forward. The other thing that we can be guilty of doing when someone dies is to canonize them, put them on a pedestal, and forget that actually, like you and me, nobody's perfect. So that the person who has passed wasn't perfect, they had flaws, and just because they're no longer with you, it is not really a good reason for you to forget about the flaws that they had. And perhaps how those flaws impacted you and the choices that they made, how that impacted you. So there's a lot in that little 4 or 5 minutes for you to think about. But it's useful whenever you maybe find yourself getting triggered by something that's happened or that someone has passed, particularly if it's not that long ago. Then remember that if you note a feeling, listen to it, act on it, and move forward and move through. It's okay to not be okay, but it's also important that you ask for help and reach out to somebody for help. And there's no stigma attached. It's not like, there's anything wrong with you, or I said to the lady that I was talking to that I've been a coach for over 20 years and I know all this stuff, But she pointed out to me, when you're in the middle of the grief process, you're thinking with emotion. It's not, you're not detached from the situation. So even though you may be very well resourced in terms of tools and things that help you in your life, it may be useful for you to reach out and speak to someone and get things in perspective. The final thought that I'll leave you with is the idea of journaling and writing down what you're thinking, and also looking at, is it positive, is it negative, and look at perhaps what it is that you've written down. How can you reframe that? How can you make that sound different? And if there is something that you're holding on to, a good idea is to write things down, write it all down on a piece of paper, and take it out somewhere safe and set it on fire with some incense and set it free. Cast the burden to the universe to take care of it for you. Or certainly where I live, there's the opportunity that you can write a letter to someone who's passed, a loved one, and you can take it to the local cemetery and pop it into a white angel post box. Either which way, it might sound a wee bit woo-woo, but if you try it, don't knock it till you've tried it. Try it and write things down and just turn it over to the universe and let it go. And remember that little prayer. So I'll read it again. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. So most importantly, forgive yourself. And remember, you are worth it. Take care. Bye.